Hello, everyone. I am Lisa.
And I am Eric. If you're looking to improve your English in an easy way, you're in the right place.
So let's get started and make English simple and enjoyable together. Okay, what are today's words, Eric?
The first word today is reliable. Then we will continue with wise. And be capable of something or doing something. Then despite. And the final one is to make matters worse.
Let's start with the first word, Eric.
The first word is reliable.
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 Great. Reliable means someone or something you can trust or depend on. For example, a reliable friend is someone who helps you when you need it.
Yes, that's correct. Reliable is an adjective. You can say, she is a reliable person, or this car is very reliable.
Let's give some example sentences. Eric, can you start?
Sure. The first example sentence is, my friend John is very reliable. He always helps me with my homework.
It means that John is someone you can trust. When you need help, he is always there for you.
Exactly. Lisa, can you give the second example?
Of course. The second example sentence is, the bus service here is not reliable. It is often late.
It means that the bus service cannot be trusted to be on time. Sometimes it comes late.
Now, let's move on to our example dialogue. In this dialogue, we have two friends, Sarah and Mike, talking about their computer.
Mike, my computer is not working again. Do you know a reliable repair shop?
Yes, I do. There is a shop downtown that is very reliable. They fixed my computer last month.
That sounds good. I need a place I can trust.
Don't worry. This shop is very reliable. They will fix it for sure.
In this dialogue, Sarah needs help with her computer. She asks Mike for a reliable repair shop. Mike tells her about a shop downtown that he trusts.
Yes, Mike says the shop is very reliable, meaning he trusts the shop to fix Sarah's computer.
Now, let's have a chat about the word reliable. Lisa, do you have any reliable friends?
Yes, I do. My friend Emily is very reliable. She always helps me when I have a problem. What about you, Eric?
I have a reliable friend too. His name is David. He never lets me down.
That's great. It's important to have reliable friends. Do you think being reliable is a good quality?
Yes, I think being reliable is very important. It means people can trust you.
I agree. It makes life easier when you know you can trust someone.
Absolutely. And it's also good to have reliable things, like a reliable car or a reliable phone.
Yes, having reliable things makes life less stressful. You don't have to worry about them breaking or not working.
That's true. Well, that's all for the word reliable.
Okay, Eric, let's move on to the next word.
The next word is wise.
Wise.
Wise. Wise is an adjective. It means having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. Here's an example sentence. My grandfather is very wise and gives great advice.
It means that my grandfather has a lot of experience and knowledge, so he gives very good advice.
Here's another example. It is wise to save money for the future.
It means that it shows good judgment to save money for the future.
Great! Now, let's have a short dialogue using the word wise. In this dialogue, we'll have two friends, Emily and John, talking about their teacher.
I think Mr. Thompson is a very wise teacher.
Yes, he always knows the right thing to say.
He gives us wise advice about life, not just school.
That's true. I feel lucky to have such a wise teacher.
Now, let's talk about our dialogue, Lisa. What do you think about Mr. Thompson?
According to the dialogue, Mr. Thompson is a very wise teacher who gives good advice about life and school. What do you think about Emily and John's opinion of their teacher?
Emily and John really respect their teacher and appreciate his wisdom. By the way, wisdom is the noun form of wise. We will use it a few more times in some sentences. Have you ever had a wise teacher or mentor, Lisa?
Yes, my college professor was very wise and helped me a lot with my career decisions. How about you, Eric?
I had a wise coach who taught me not just about sports, but also about life values. Do you think wisdom comes with age?
Yes. Often wisdom comes with age and experience, but young people can be wise too. What do you think?
I agree. Wisdom can come from different experiences, not just age.
Absolutely. Okay, anything else you want to add about our word today?
Just remember that wise means having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. It's a useful adjective to describe someone who makes good decisions.
It's a good summary. Okay, what is the next word, Eric?
The next word is to be capable of something or doing something.
Okay, let's explain what to be capable of means.
It means to have the ability or skill to do something. When we say someone is capable of something, we mean they can do it. Now, let me give an example sentence. John is capable of speaking 3 languages.
Good example. It means that John has the ability to speak 3 different languages. Here's my example. The new car is capable of reaching high speeds.
Great one. It means that the new car has the ability to go very fast.
Now, let's talk about how to use this phrase. We say to be capable of, and then we can use either a noun or a verb with ing.
That's right. For example, we can say capable of success or capable of succeeding. Both are correct.
Good point, Eric. Now let's listen to a short dialogue using our phrase to be capable of.
Hey Emma, do you think I'm capable of running a marathon?
Well, you're very fit. I think you're definitely capable of training for one.
Thanks. I wasn't sure if I was capable of such a big challenge.
You're more capable than you think, Mark. Just start with small steps.
That was a great dialogue. Mark and Emma used our phrase capable of several times.
Yes, they did. Eric, do you think you're capable of running a marathon?
That's a good question, Lisa. I think I'm capable of training for one, but I'm not sure if I'm capable of finishing it yet.
I understand. I think after training, you can. Okay, so what do you think you're capable of doing well, Eric?
I think I'm capable of cooking good meals. How about you, Lisa?
That's great. I think I'm capable of learning new languages quickly. It's fun.
Wow, that's a useful skill. Are you capable of speaking any other languages?
Yes, I'm capable of speaking Spanish and a little bit of French.
That's impressive. I'm only capable of speaking English right now, but I want to learn more.
That's a great goal, Eric. Remember, we're all capable of learning new things, if we try.
You're right, Lisa. Well, that's all we have time for with our phrase to be capable of. Let's move on to our next word.
Sounds good, Eric. I'm excited to learn more.
The next word is despite.
Despite.
Despite. Despite is a preposition. It means something happens even though there is something that might prevent it. We use despite when two things seem like they don't go together, but they happen anyway. Now, let me give an example sentence. Despite the rain, we had a great picnic. It means that they had a great picnic even though it was raining, which usually makes picnics difficult. Now, Lisa, can you give us another example?
Sure. Here's my example. He went to work despite feeling sick.
Great one. It means that he went to work even though he was not feeling well, which usually keeps people at home.
Now, let's talk about how to use this word. Despite is usually followed by a noun or a noun phrase. If we want to use it with a verb, we need to use ing forms of the verb. For example, we can say despite the cold weather or despite feeling cold. Both are correct.
Good point, Lisa. Now let's listen to a short dialogue using our word despite.
Hi, Tom. How was your vacation?
It was great, Sarah. Despite the bad weather, we had a lot of fun.
Oh no, was it raining the whole time?
Yes, but despite the rain, we visited many interesting places.
Wow, that's good to hear. I'm glad you enjoyed it, despite the challenges.
That was a great dialogue. Tom and Sarah used our word despite several times.
Yes, they did. Eric, have you ever had a good time despite bad weather?
Yes, I have. Last summer, I went camping despite the forecast for rain. It rained a lot, but we still had fun in our tent.
That sounds nice. Did you do any activities despite the rain?
We played card games in the tent and told stories. Despite not being able to go outside much, we laughed a lot.
That's great. I once went to a concert despite having a headache. The music was so good that I forgot about my pain.
Wow, that's interesting. Did you enjoy the concert despite your headache?
Yes, I did. The fun of the concert was stronger than my headache. Have you ever done something despite not feeling well, Eric?
Once, I went to a friend's birthday party despite having a cold. I didn't want to miss it, so I went anyway.
That was nice of you. I'm sure your friend was happy despite your cold.
Yes, they were.
Well, I think we have explained despite fairly enough. Okay, we have reached our last word today. What is the last word, Eric?
The last word is to make matters worse.
To make matters worse.
To make matters worse is a phrase. It means to make a bad situation even worse. Let me give an example so our listeners can understand it better. I was already late for work, and to make matters worse, my car broke down. It means that being late for work was bad, but the situation became even worse when the car broke down.
Here's another example. She forgot her homework, and to make matters worse, she lost her notes. It means that forgetting her homework was bad, and the situation became worse when she lost her notes.
Now, let's briefly discuss some grammar related to make matters worse. This phrase is an idiom and is used to introduce a new problem that makes the current situation even worse. It is often used at the beginning of a sentence.
Now, let's have a short dialogue using the phrase to make matters worse. In this dialogue, we'll have two friends, Jane and Tom, talking about their day.
How was your day, Tom?
It was terrible. I missed the bus this morning, and to make matters worse, I forgot my wallet at home.
Oh no, did you manage to get to work on time?
No, I was late. And to make matters worse, my boss was not happy about it.
That sounds really tough. I hope tomorrow is better.
Now, let's talk about our dialogue. Lisa, what do you think about Tom's day?
Tom had a very bad day. Missing the bus and forgetting his wallet made things worse, and his boss being unhappy made it even more difficult. What do you think about the impact of multiple problems on Tom's day?
It's clear that each problem made the situation worse for Tom. Have you ever had a day where one problem after another made matters worse, Lisa?
Yes, I once lost my keys, and to make matters worse, my phone battery died, so I couldn't call for help. How about you, Eric?
I had a day where I spilled coffee on my shirt, and to make matters worse, I had an important meeting right after. Do you think it's important to stay positive in such situations?
Yes, staying positive can help manage stress and find solutions.
I agree. Keeping a positive attitude can make it easier to handle problems.
Exactly, Eric. All right, we have reached the end of our podcast today.
Yes, Lisa, time flies during our podcasts.
That's very true. Well, thank you for listening to Simply Explained English. We hope you learned something new today.
Don't forget to subscribe and like our videos.
Until next time, keep practicing and have fun with English.
Bye for now and happy learning.
Bye-bye. I am Lisa.
And I am Eric. Whether you're a student, a professional, or just someone who loves learning English, this podcast is for you.
So let's get started and make English simple and enjoyable together. What are the words today, Eric?
The first word today is odd. Then we will continue with to sneak and stick to, then a long way to go. And the final one is make a long story short.
Okay, Eric. Let's start with the first word.
The first word is odd.
Odd.
Odd. Odd has two main meanings. First, it can mean strange or unusual. Second, it can refer to numbers that can't be divided evenly by 2. We'll focus on the first meaning, strange or unusual. Now, let me give an example sentence. It was odd to see snow in summer.
Good example. It means that seeing snow in summer is strange or unusual because it doesn't normally snow in that season.
Exactly. Can you give us another example, Lisa?
Sure. Here's my example. The old house made odd noises at night.
Great one. It means that the noises from the old house were strange or unusual, probably a bit scary or unexpected.
Now, let's talk about how to use this word. Odd is an adjective, so we use it to describe nouns. We can say an odd person or an odd situation.
That's right. And remember, we don't change the form of odd. We don't say odder or oddest.
Good point, Eric. Now, let's listen to a short dialogue using our word odd.
Hey, Sarah. Did you see that man with the purple hair?
Yes, I did. It looked a bit odd, didn't it?
I thought so too. And did you notice his odd shoes? One was red and one was blue.
Wow, that is odd. But you know what? I kind of like it when people dress in odd ways.
Really?
I guess it does make life more interesting.
Tom and Sarah used our word odd several times.
Yes, they did. Eric, have you ever seen someone dressed in an odd way?
Yes, I have. Once I saw a man wearing a suit made entirely of newspapers. It was very odd.
That does sound odd. Did you think it was funny or strange?
I think it was strange, but also creative. Have you ever done anything that others might think is odd, Lisa?
Well, I once dyed my hair green for a day. My friends thought it was very odd.
Green hair? That is odd. Did you like it?
Yes, I did. It was fun to do something odd for a change. Do you think you would ever do something odd like that?
Maybe. I think it's good to be a little odd sometimes. It makes life more fun.
I agree. Being odd can be a good thing. It means you're unique.
That's true. Well, that's all we have time for with our word odd. Let's move on to our next word.
Sounds good, Eric. I wonder if our next word will be as odd as this one.
Don't worry, it's not an odd word.
Okay, let's proceed then.
The next word is to sneak.
To sneak.
To sneak. When someone sneaks, they move quietly and secretly to avoid being noticed. Sneaking is usually done when someone wants to do something without others knowing or to surprise someone. For example, she tried to sneak into the house without waking up her parents.
This sentence means that she attempted to enter the house quietly and without waking her parents up.
That's true. Now, let's give another example sentence. He sneaked chocolates from the jar when no one was looking. This example shows that he enjoys taking chocolates secretly when no one is around to see.
That's right. Now, let's listen to a short dialogue using our word sneak.
Tommy, did you eat the cookies I baked for tomorrow?
No, Mom, I didn't touch them.
Are you sure? I saw you sneaking into the kitchen earlier.
Well, okay, I sneaked in and took just one cookie. I'm sorry.
That was a nice dialogue, Eric. What do you think about Tommy's situation?
I think Tommy tried to hide that he took a cookie, but his mom caught him. It's not good to sneak around and then lie about it.
You're right. Have you ever sneaked somewhere, Eric?
Well, when I was a kid, I once sneaked downstairs to find out what there were.
What happened then?
Nothing. I fell asleep waiting and my parents found me in the morning. What about you, Lisa? Have you ever sneaked somewhere?
Yes, I have. I once sneaked into my sister's room to borrow her sweater without asking.
Oh, did she find out?
Yes, she did, and she wasn't happy. I learned it's better to ask first than to sneak around.
That's a good lesson. I think our listeners can learn from this too.
Absolutely. Remember, listeners, to sneak means to move quietly and secretly, but it's usually better to be open and honest.
Well said, Lisa. We hope this explanation and conversation help our listeners understand and use the word sneak correctly.
Yes, and remember, it's okay to use this word when telling stories or playing games, but in real life, it's better not to sneak around.
Great point, Lisa. Shall we move on to our next word?
Yes, please.
The next word is stick to.
Stick to.
Stick to is a phrasal verb. It means to continue doing something despite difficulties or to follow a plan or rule.
It's often used when talking about habits, decisions, or commitments.
That's true, Lisa. Let me give an example. I'm trying to stick to my diet, so I won't eat any chocolate today. It means that I'm making an effort to follow my diet plan and not break the rules.
Good example. Here's another one. You should stick to your study schedule if you want to pass the exam. It means that you should continue following your study plan without changing it.
Now, let's talk about how to use this phrase. We usually use stick to followed by a noun or a gerund, verb plus ing. For example, stick to the plan or stick to eating healthy.
That's a helpful tip, Eric. Let's hear a short dialogue.
How's your New Year's resolution going, Tom?
It's hard to stick to my exercise plan, Mom. I often feel too tired after work.
I understand, but try to stick to it. Maybe you can exercise in the morning instead?
That's a good idea. I'll try to stick to morning workouts and see if it helps.
That was a nice dialogue, Lisa.
I think so, Eric. Now, let's talk about the dialogue. What do you think about Tom's situation?
I think Tom is having trouble keeping his New Year's resolution. It's not easy to stick to new habits.
You're right. Have you ever made a New Year's resolution, Eric?
Yes, I have. Last year, I decided to stick to reading one book every month.
That's interesting. Did you manage to stick to your plan?
Mostly, yes, but sometimes it was hard to find time to read. What about you, Lisa? Do you have any habits you try to stick to?
Well, I try to stick to drinking 6 glasses of water every day. It's good for health, but I often forget.
That's a good habit to have. How did you remind yourself to drink water?
I used a water bottle with marks on it. It helped me stick to my goal. Make a long, short story, I could not stick to it.
I see. It's important to stick to good habits.
Absolutely. Yes, and we encourage our listeners to stick to learning English. It takes time, but it's worth it.
Well said, Lisa.
Okay, let's move on to our next word. What's the next word, Eric?
The next word is a long way to go.
A long way to go.
A long way to go. It is an idiom. It means there's still a lot of work or progress to be made before reaching a goal.
That's right, Eric. It's used when someone needs to improve a lot or when a task will take a long time to finish.
Let me give an example. John is learning to play the guitar, but he has a long way to go before he can perform on stage. It means that John needs to practice a lot more before he's good enough to play in front of an audience.
Good example. Here's another one. Our team has a long way to go to win the championship. It means that our team needs to improve a lot and work hard to become good enough to win.
That's a good example, Lisa. Let's hear a short dialogue using this phrase.
How's your English study going, Sarah?
It's okay, but I have a long way to go before I can speak fluently.
Don't worry. Learning a language takes time. We all had a long way to go when we started.
Thanks, Tom. That makes me feel better.
I liked how they used the phrase twice. What do you think about Sarah's situation, Eric?
I think Sarah feels a bit worried about her English. She knows she needs to improve a lot.
Yes, that's right. But Tom is very kind. He tells Sarah not to worry. Do you think that's good advice?
I do. Learning takes time, and it's normal to feel like you have a long way to go when you start something new.
I agree. Have you ever felt like you had a long way to go with something, Eric?
Yes, I have. I had a long way to go when I started learning to cook. My first meals were not very good.
Oh, I can imagine. But now you're a good cook now, right?
I'm much better now, thanks. It just took time and practice. What about you, Lisa?
Well, I'm learning to play tennis. I still have a long way to go before I can play well, but I'm enjoying the process.
That's great, Lisa. Remember, it's okay to have a long way to go. The important thing is to keep trying and learning.
You're right, Eric. Thank you for that reminder. I think our listeners can learn from this too.
Absolutely. And remember, everyone has a long way to go when they start learning something new. It's part of the journey.
Okay, Eric. We have reached our last word today. What is the last word?
The last word is make a long story short.
Make a long story short.
Make a long story short. This idiom is used when you want to give the main point of a story without all the details. It means you are summarizing something to keep it brief. For example, I had a flat tire, missed the bus, and had to walk home. To make a long story short, it was a tough day.
It means that many things happened, but the main point is that it was a tough day.
Exactly. Here's another example. He lost his job, his car broke down, and to make a long story short, he had a lot of bad luck that week. This means that many bad things happened, but the main point is that he had a lot of bad luck.
Now, let's talk about how to use make a long story short in sentences. We usually use it at the beginning or in the middle of a sentence.
Additionally, sometimes people say long story short, which means the same thing. For example, long story short, we decided not to go on the trip.
Good point. Now, let's move on to a dialogue using the phrase make a long story short. The characters are Emma and Jake. They are talking in a cafe.
So, what happened yesterday?
Well, to make a long story short, I missed my flight and had to stay at the airport all night.
Oh no! Why did you miss your flight?
I was stuck in traffic for hours. I forgot my key at home. To make a long story short, it was a terrible day.
Now, let's have a casual conversation about the dialogue. Lisa, what do you think about the phrase make a long story short?
I think it's a very useful phrase. It helps you get to the main point quickly without telling every detail.
Yes, exactly. And in the dialogue, Emma and Jake used it to summarize a long story. Do you think using make a long story short makes their conversation clearer?
Definitely. It shows that they are giving the important part of the story without going into too many details. It makes the conversation more efficient.
I agree. It's especially helpful when you don't want to go into too many details. Do you know any other phrases that mean the same as make a long story short?
Yes, phrases like in short and to sum up have similar meanings. For example, in short, we missed the plane.
Good example. Okay, we have reached the end of today's episode. That's it for today's episode.
Thank you for listening to Simply Explained English. We hope you learned something new today.
Don't forget to subscribe and like our videos. See you next time.
Bye-bye.